Welcome to the 2014 Race of Champions from the Caribbean island of Barbados. Bushy Park is the new venue for the 26th edition of this famous end-of-season celebration. A brand new racetrack, modified especially for ROC. But what is the Race of Champions? The Race of Champions is a highlight for every driver and a perfect ending to a long motorsport season.
Everybody likes Race of Champions. Of course, everyone's got a busy schedule. When we announced that we were going to Barbados, all the drivers said, "Oh, wow, I'm on."
Before the lights go green for the Race of Champions, let's take a look at how this unique competition works. This year, it's certain that we will have a new Nations Cup winner. With Team Germany not represented in 2014, there's the chance for a new country to be the fastest on Earth. Drivers team up with their compatriot in pairs. Each driver initially has one race against a driver from the opposing team, competing head-to-head on the parallel track. After the group stage, it's best of three. If the score is tied at 1-1, the two winning drivers battle it out in a tie-break to see which team emerges victorious. Each nation takes on three others in the group stage, with the two most successful teams from each group progressing to the knockout semi-finals. After years of German dominance, who will win the 2014 ROC Nations Cup?
Let's take a look at the cars in the Race of Champions here in Barbados. New to the Race of Champions is the Ariel Atom Cup car. It's very nimble, very quick, only 550 kilos. And the drivers have got a lot of driving to do with this one. It's quick in a straight line. The Audi R8 LMS is run by the Audi Factory Sports team. Now this is the fastest top speed of the cars that we've got, but it's also the heaviest, so it's going to take skill and precision. Only two-wheel drive on this car, but a beautiful V10 engine. The Euro Nascar looks like the heaviest car. It's not, because it's a space frame and it's got a wonderful American V8 under the bonnet, or should that be hood? This is the car that few of the drivers will have experienced before unless they've been at ROC in the past. The Ktm Crossbow, a favourite of the Race of Champions, with a carbon fibre centre section like all of the best racing cars, including Formula One. It's a 2-litre engine, but that 2-litre engine propels it to great speed. The drivers will need to be on their game to tame this beast. The ROC car, a stalwart of Race of Champions. Soft and supple, knobbly tyres. It's a favourite for many of the drivers. You've got to get the technique right though. It's only 475 kilograms. Get that weight going forward before you turn it into the corners. Another newcomer is Robby Gordon's Stadium Super Truck. Now, Robby won't be allowed to drive this. He's been the champion in this series for the last couple of years. And the V8 engine sounds as tough as the truck looks. It's a very different driving style that is very alien to the rest of the competitors. VW have shipped the two World Rallycross Polos directly from Argentina to the Race of Champions here in Barbados. With all-wheel drive, it's incredible acceleration that will be challenging our drivers. Only a 2-litre engine, but 600 horsepower.
Special welcome, of course, to the competitors who are the top motorsports drivers that you can find anywhere in the world.
Let's meet those drivers. First up, Romain Grosjean is the current ROC Champion of Champions and Lotus F1 team lead driver. For France, he teams up with FIA F3 European Champion and Lotus young gun Esteban Ocon. Petter Solberg is the first FIA double discipline champion in WRC and this year World Rallycross. He represents Team Nordic alongside Tom Kristensen, 9-time Le Mans winner, about to retire from the sport after Race of Champions. The first Argentine FIA World Champion since Fangio in '57 is Jose Maria Lopez, winner of the World Touring Car Championship this year. He represents Team Americas alongside versatile all-rounder Robby Gordon from the USA. Team Young Guns allows GP2 champion Jolyon Palmer from Great Britain and Pascal Wehrlein, the youngest ever DTM race winner, both to make ROC debuts. Mick Doohan is a ROC legend. The 5-time 500cc motorcycle world champion represents Australia, with Jamie Whincup representing the V8 supercars. He took his 6th championship in 7 years in 2014. Team GB is represented by 2 Scots, Williams F1 test driver Susie Wolff and ex-Red Bull Formula 1 driver David Coulthard, who is back for his 10th Race of Champions. Home nation Barbados have 2 national champions. Dane Skeet is a former karting champ. Rhett Watson is a rally champion. They both had to qualify for the privilege of racing against their heroes. Completing the entry is Indy 500 winner Ryan Hunter-Reay. He's returning for a 2nd time. And Kurt Busch is a newcomer to ROC, but a veteran of NASCAR, champion in 2004 and best rookie at the Indy 500 this year. Group A was a tough one. Team Nordic were always going to be the favourite, forcing the other teams to go maximum attack. Sometimes this was a little too much. The start of the day and Esteban Ocon stumbled. Tom Kristensen claimed a large lead to take a clear victory. 2 big names in Heat 2. Romain Grosjean was the faster but made 2 errors. The Frenchman received a 5-second penalty, handing the win to Petter Solberg. Robby Gordon knows about NASCARs, but young gun Jolyon Palmer took the lead with a great start. Gordon pushed hard, and with 2 errors for Palmer, it was an easy win for the Americas. Pascal Wehrlein and Jose Maria Lopez on the same level, but a technical problem forced Lopez out. Turn 1 and Ocon slid into the gravel. Palmer won and placed the young stars in a good position to qualify. In Heat 6, the French started their comeback. Grosjean with a perfect run and the fastest time of Group A against Wehrlein.
We are against a tough one there. Robby Gordon.
Tom Kristensen on the inside, our right, taking on Robby Gordon in the aerial atom. He gets the whole shot down towards the chicane for the first time, but Gordon takes a lot of speed through into turn 1. Now, can he keep that on the black stuff? Yes, he can. This is good stuff from the American. He's proving himself very, very versatile indeed. He'll go around to the right here and through the 2 roundabouts and over the top of the unique rock bridge goes Tom Kristensen. There's Gordon. Keep away from that concrete wall, Robby. It's good stuff. The VIP passenger getting a great view of this race from Robby Gordon. Now, this is the technical part in the middle of the track. You've got to be careful you don't run too wide, and he hasn't. He looks like he's gone ahead, but remember, he's coming to the end of just the first 1.15 kilometres. He's got the same to do. There's Kristensen crossing the line. And look at the gap. It's 2.5 seconds there. Now, Tom Kristensen has the disadvantage of having his competitor behind him. Robby Gordon can see the great Dane, the 9 times Le Mans champion, as he heads off round the second half of the lap. Remember, everyone drives the same piece of road. They just do it in opposite ways. Now, let's have a look at Tom's style. You have to be precise with this aerial atom. It's a proper little racing car. They're racing in the Atom Cup in the UK. Big wing on the back. An interesting suspension here. There's no roll bars on these cars. It's a push rod system. And there you can see the flag of Gordon. He's ahead. He's pulled back that deficit on the stagger. Coming to the final corner now. It's Robby Gordon on the outside. He's going to put one over on Mr. Le Mans. This is a fantastic victory for the American.
Lopez versus Solberg, World Touring Car versus World Rallycross champions. It was close, sideways for Lopez, but the Norwegian claimed the victory. Same again for Kristensen against Palmer, who had a magnetic attraction to the wall. That's Team Nordic with a ticket for the semi-final. Time for the Stadium Super Trucks, a tricky beast that Wehrlein had mastered, sending old hand Solberg into a spin. The first jump start in Heat 11, Gordon's mistake is Ocon's lifeline to keep the French hopes of qualification alive. And then the decider, America versus France, but the trucks beat them both, Lopez rolling out. Grosjean took the necessary third win for France to progress to the semi-final by 1/10 of a second alongside the winner, Team Nordic. As the cars are prepared for the second group, the ROC girls from Barbados cause quite a stir. Here are the teams to compete in Group B of the ROC Nations Cup: Australia, Great Britain, local heroes from Team Barbados, and the USA. Susie Wolff, the first to go on track. As the first woman competitor in ROC history, she immediately impressed by defeating motorcycle legend Mick Doohan. It was now up to Jamie Whincup to take revenge for Australia, but David Coulthard obviously had better control of his Audi R8 LMS and beat Whincup in commanding fashion. Time for the first Bajan driver. The home crowd were really pumped as they saw Indy 500 champion Ryan Hunter-Reay struggling in the very last turn and Dane Skeet succeeding in his debut appearance. The hotly favoured USA in trouble. Could the next Bajan Rhett Watson keep the momentum?
20 cylinders of power are unleashed, and Watson from the outside in the grey and white car once again gets a great start. These Barbados guys are mega away from the lights. There must be something in the water here. But it's Kurt Busch who takes a little lead into that first corner. He'll be heading over the top of the bridge first. Watson now losing sight for a moment of his competitor. Now here's Kurt Busch, loving this Audi R8. This was the car that was designed by Audi for the long Nordschleife and the 24-hour races there. It's been put to a different use here in Barbados, but driven very well by all of our competitors. Now there's the gap at the moment, but remember, again, we're only halfway around the race. So this is good news at the moment for Team America. They need this victory to go forward. It's about 3 seconds, well, just a little bit over. Now can Watson, with the red and white car in his sights, for Barbados, with the whole crowd behind him, can he do something to pull Kurt Busch back? And this is a man, of course, who has been a Sprint Cup champion. He was Rookie of the Year as well at the Indy 500 this year. He knows how to drive different cars. He's versatile. He's got a race on his hands now. He can't feel the driver of Watson right next to him because they're not side by side yet. They will be in a moment, and Watson's pulled it back. This is tremendous stuff by the Barbados team. He's just lost a little bit of momentum. Now Kurt Busch now has just got to be steady. He's clipped the curb on the inside there. That's not very good. Watson's got the power on. He's coming round the outside. It's Barbados. Barbados are going through as Watson beats Busch.
In the heats between the USA and Australia, Mick Doohan lost to Ryan Hunter-Reay after this spectacular spin, while Kurt Busch defeated V8 champion Whincup, a comeback for the USA. Next duel, Great Britain versus Barbados. Dane Skeet, with the passion of the island behind him, was happily on his way to win number 3, but this major mistake in the last turn gave Susie Wolff another victory. Skeet's partner Rhett Watson struggled against David Coulthard despite this slip-up from the former Formula One driver. Nevertheless, the Bajans had potential for progression. The battle continued, Hunter-Reay versus Wolff. The American defeated the British team for the first time, keeping them in the hunt to qualify. But the delight didn't last too long. Kurt Busch lost to Coulthard, who was again impressive in the atoms. Tension was rising at Bushy Park. Barbados and the USA dead even, pressure on Dane Skeet, who prevailed to secure a place in the semi-finals for the local heroes. Rhett Watson's defeat against Jamie Whincup in the last race merely a side note. Barbados, a sensation, progressing to the semi-finals behind Team GB. Strong Australia and USA, surprisingly, out of the competition. In Barbados, the Mercedes F1 W03, the final machine in which Michael Schumacher competed in Formula One. Pascal Wehrlein wowed the crowd, but the ROC family were missing a stalwart of the event.
Michael is maybe the toughest competitor I've ever seen, and he would only have wanted this race to continue to go ahead.
ICM has been the chosen ROC charity for many years and is helping with Michael's recovery. An auction is being arranged to raise funds with priceless memorabilia such as that signed painting and Michael's last season's overalls. Back to the racing and the serious ROC Nations Cup semi-finals. Firstly, Ocon and Grosjean versus Kristensen and Solberg. Kristensen for Team Nordic is up against Ocon for France. When they met in the Euro Nascar earlier in the day, it was a clear win for TK, and the same here in the Atom, 1-0 for the Nordics. That meant Grosjean had to beat Solberg. The R8 more to the F1 driver's style, and the score is levelled. TK settled into the KTM for the decider. Against Grosjean it would be tough. But the Frenchman struggled with the short shift gearbox, and Team Nordic progressed through. Barbados were on fire against Great Britain. Dane Skeet was on the ragged edge, sliding the Audi GT3 round much of the Bushy Park track. Susie Wolff still had no answer, losing out and placing massive pressure on DC.
Underneath the start-finish arch, David Coulthard, 13 Grand Prix victories. He knows he can't crack under pressure as they go off the line. And it is once again a fabulous start from the inside by the Barbados team. DC not flustered by that. All-wheel drive. These cars designed to run on part gravel and part asphalt. It's all asphalt here as the Team Barbados car gets airborne for Watson. That's nice driving, you know, isn't it? It's nice and tidy, and that may pay dividends. 600 horsepower driving through all four wheels. This is the fastest accelerating car and the fastest car across the ground here. These are the fastest lap times we're going to see all weekend. Barbados gets the applause as they go across the line. Watson then going through. Rhett Watson by just 0.6 of a second. I'm not sure that's going to be enough, and he's already struggling as DC realises he's got a chance. He could see his competitor there and took way more speed in the second half of turn number 1. Across the bridge. Well, DC, did he turn in a bit early there? Come on, David, you've got to win this one to keep your team in it. This is the pressure of ROC Nations Cup. It's not just about you, it's about your teammate. Oh, brilliant stuff by the Scotsman. This has been neat and tidy. Watson is not there, and there'll be disappointment for the home fans, but this has levelled it up, 1 each. No second chances for Team GB or for Barbados. Dane Skeet in the black car on our right, started his career in karting, was a karting champion. Oh, hang on a second, just the same as the man on his right-hand side, David Coulthard. Coulthard's been to Formula One. Dane Skeet has been a champion here many times in all disciplines around the Barbados and other islands. And now this is a big scalp. He's going to have to take it, though, if they are going to move on in the ROC Nations Cup. Oh, it's committed, isn't it? Don't hit the barriers. That would have been a yellow card, but nicely controlled by Dane Skeet. As the KTM Crossbows, they need precision driving. You cannot trail brake, and by that I mean you can't take the brakes right into the corner. It's almost an old-fashioned way of driving. Brake in a straight line, get the weight going forward, and then turn in. And Skeet's done that very, very well. Here we go, across the line. And Skeet's got a lead, and it's a good lead. Look at that on the Tag Heuer system, 1.6429, down to 4 decimal places. Oh no! Oh no! Barbados spin away the chance of moving forward in ROC Nations Cup.
See you in the final. Good luck.
Team Nordic versus Team GB in the final, setting up a potential Kristensen-Coulthard decider, the two old friends. Firstly, TK had to face Wolf. He made short work of the Scot in an Audi he knows well and put Team Nordic in front. Time for Solberg to face DC.
Well, surely almost an unequal contest here as Petter Solberg gets the whole shot and leads David Coulthard early on, but Coulthard comes back very well indeed. Petter Solberg has won the FIA World Rallycross Championship this year, not in this car, and he was at pains to point out when we spoke to him earlier on in the weekend, this car is much stiffer. His Rallycross car is much slacker, it moves around more under him, and he's struggling to adapt to that. David Coulthard has not had an easy time with these cars either. In his first half lap, he used a handbrake in practice, and that didn't work well at all. Had contact with the barrier, but he's changed his driving style now and smoothed it all out like a racing driver should, and that's perfect. A beautiful four-wheel drift on the four-wheel drive 600 horsepower Polo, and David Coulthard is gone. He's checked out. That's a huge margin, even for Petter Solberg, for Hollywood to pull back. DC is putting on a masterclass here in this little Polo. This big slide by Solberg, but that's not quick. Come on, Petter, you need to smooth this out. It's just fingertips round here, and Petter is trying to muscle this Polo, and it's not doing him any good at all. And this is bad news for Team Nordic. Surely they would have thought this was a banker. They must have been hoping to go through at the end of this, and it's not going to go their way. Touch on the barrier as well from Solberg. It's all going wrong. And it's DC, David Coulthard, who levels it up. It's one each. David Coulthard has won his first heat of the final. Tom Kristensen has won his. Now, one of them will help their team to be ROC Nations Cup champion for 2014. Great start by both men. But on the inside, the fluttering Danish flag just visible above the Tech Pro barrier for David Coulthard. It's getting away from him a little bit, but at least he can pace himself to Tom Kristensen. Very precise through there in the aerial Ktm Cup car. Honda Type R engine for just about 250 horsepower. This is a real weapon. And Kristensen putting all his effort in. Remember, this is a man who has won Le Mans 24-hour 9 times and is used to doing 3 hours at 250 miles an hour in a sports car. But look at the effort and all of his experience going into this 2.25 kilometre circuit. Snatches another gear on the H-pattern box. Yes, no flappy paddles, no driver aids. This is skill, precision and passion. And it's a lead for Kristensen. 2.7686 seconds down to 4 decimal places. Kristensen has the advantage at the moment, but is it enough? The stagger unwinds only at the checkered flag, and David Coulthard can see his prey. Tom Kristensen is the hunted at the moment. Get that gear down, Tom. Make sure you don't miss the gear change. Now, where is Coulthard? There he is on the outside in the darker of the Ktm Cup cars. Susie Wolf really urging her teammate on. He's ahead. He's touched the barrier though. Into the final corner. DC has a chance, but he's given it away. He's gone too wide, took too much speed. Into the final corner. Kristensen's family go bonkers in the driver lounge, and across the line, Tom Kristensen repeats his win from 2005, and it's Peter Solberg with him this time for the ROC Nations Cup 2014.
On this challenging track here, it's a lot faster than the stadium ones, so it's a very fun day, and I enjoy certainly to win as Team Nordic.
The experience and class of Tom Kristensen driving Team Nordic to victory and the title of ROC Nations Cup winners 2014.